talking about France, the game, where does that rank in terms of Bok performances? Where would you guys put that? I mean, you were here, the atmosphere.
Well, we've played here on the stadium in a World Cup final. It's my first time on the other side. I couldn't believe the crowd. It was unbelievable. We just spoke about it. I mean, to be a referee in a crowd like this, not giving everything to the home crowd must be very difficult because there's just something happening. The crowd went wild. And I thought the referees did pretty well. They stayed to their decisions.
They're getting stick. And I guess it's natural, but they are getting a lot. And they've been getting a lot of stick. You know, like I mentioned to Vic, it's probably the hardest job in the game of rugby at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably the least paid guy on the field with the biggest responsibility and the most pressure. So whenever
pay them more.
Absolutely, pay them more. You know,
otherwise you won't have any.
They are so accountable, and yet they really are. They become the villains of whichever team lost. And we are not throwing stones from glass houses because South Africans also like a little whinge every now and again about referees. But it is going to come a time where we actually go. We're probably going to chase whatever decent referees we are attracting to the game away from the game, but there needs to be something needs to be done. There needs to be more investment into these guys, or we're going to lose everyone we've got. It goes back to that first question around, was this one of the best performances from South Africa? There's different types of performances where you have a flawless performance, where it's like at Twickenham against the All Blacks. England for us, 36-0.
England, the opening game,
But the best games which provide the best results are where you are. It's ding dong. It's you up, then they up. The pressure's on. You just don't know. I mean, we walk down with 20 minutes to go, thinking, okay, it's over, and then you get back. I mean, our closest game to that was probably Hamilton, beating the All Blacks for the third time in 2009, where it's back and forth the whole time. And I think those are the test matches that really get people riled up and get people to an intensity that a flawless game doesn't really bring out in people.
But that's also where you see a quality team. I mean, we were outplayed. To be honest, I think in the first 60 minutes we were outplayed. The French arrived here. They were ready for this game. They had this crowd behind them. They were so good in that first 20 minutes. It's the first time I've seen South African defence scramble like this. And not just on the edges. I mean, they physically dominate us. They got momentum. We couldn't get back into line, made meters. I mean, the kicking game of DuPont, again, just on the right time, soft little digs through. That put us under pressure. But this team's got a way to get through games and to win games. And to take that pressure, show character, and come through and win games.
The character's obviously massive going into this weekend, but now you hear about the preparation, the Springboks apparently trained with loudspeakers, the strategy of putting the long cross kick to the young French wing. So I think there was a couple of things that we got right on the weekend.
Oh, let's be honest. It's hard to know what gets said in the media from sort of South Africa's camp, because we've got to be the team that throws the most flares out in world rugby. There's always something going on, and I think it's a smart tactic from the management, from Rassie and Jacques. There's always something that they're feeding into the equation, and the opposition doesn't know whether it's a flare or whether it's actually something for real. But they're smart, and we got to imagine coaching against these two guys. You actually just. How do you get on top of them? How do you know what's coming?
7-1, 6-2, don't know what's coming.
Rolling subs for the weekend.
announcing the team late also. Different strategy, but also Vic, there are also one or two things. It was the tap penalty move, which we've never seen from a Springbok team. So there are certain things that they were trying to do things differently.
There's always something
They've always
new.
got a trick or two, and that's beautiful.
What's the trick going to be this weekend?
England, eh?
And that was probably a little bit of a problem. We knew if we play well, we'll win it. They can't beat us. So we just did what we knew. I mean, what we did best, and we just stayed up front.
Make it as ugly as possible.
Take them to the gutter.
It was pretty ugly, to be honest.
The gutter. How was Jesse Kriel this weekend? I mean, how good was he, Vic?
There's been so much in the media in the past, and fans talking about maybe he's not the best 13 in South Africa. He doesn't have the flair. I know Lukanya was here, and that's amazing. It's out at the moment, or it just came back. But the work rate, and Damien Dalenda as well, those two guys, the work rate that they bring to the game. I mean, there's a lot of talk of Andre Estrada who's really playing well. But I mean, the work rate of those two centres of us is just...
I think the reality is
crazy.
That if people really are thinking that there's other centres other than Damien Dalenda and Jesse, they need to just watch one of them
what they do off the ball
for 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, without the ball. And their work rates, the two of them, honestly, they're like two more Kocha Smits. Yeah, that's where they are unbelievable. And also when they have ball in hand, Damien's been bumping guys left, right, centre. Jesse's work rate on the outside, and Jesse's got the hardest job on defence. 13's hard.
He's up and down
all the time. So people don't understand how much a 13 has to work, especially in our defensive system. So that the guy walking past us with blood all over his face, that was a picture of, I think, what it took for that team to win, to get through on the weekend.
And he was cramping for the last 20 minutes. Every time there was a stoppage, he was stretching those calves.
Forget that.
And a lot of people say he doesn't have that skill level that the Lucanya's got, and Lucania do have a special skill.
Yeah.
But I mean, his kicking game, his passing game, everything was there on Saturday.
But he's also had to be patient and wait for his time, for his opportunity. I mean, Lucania, since the last World Cup, has probably
the best 13 in the world.
Been the best 13 in the world.
A testament to his character as well, because most guys would get frustrated, and when you got at the time, Lucania was probably best pro in the world, and he was sitting on the bench and not getting opportunities. And then as soon as they started going to the 6-2 splits, he was getting less and less chance in the 23. But mate, have you ever seen Jesse Creel not positive? It's just
he's a good man.
Just brings energy wherever he goes.
But talking about energy, it was also quite nice. I mean, the substitutions, John. Some of the guys, Moni Lobok gets taken off early, Pollard, Sia gets taken off early. But there is buy-in from the team, though. You could see the happiness around the squad.
Yeah, we again we go back 16 years, and everyone was trying to avoid the bench, and it did feel like you didn't play the same role. And I think the tables are completely turned over. I think now that bomb squad, the bench, is almost like an exciting place to be picked on. Everyone knows that they're going to be ending up finishing the game. They're going to be the ones changing the nature of the game's momentum as well. So that is another stroke of genius from Jacques and Rassi in terms of making the bench look cool. Giving it a new name.
It's crazy, but they got the buy-in from the players. I mean, before that Ireland game, when Dwayne wasn't picked, I sent him a little message here, are you all right? Why are you not playing?
Yeah.
And he just sent one line back to me, one team, one mission. And that's it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, not playing, happy, we're going, we're good. And there they go. So, they've got the buy-in of every player. Doesn't matter what the role is. I mean, thinking back about 2019, a Skulk Brits. Yeah. Almost just being the squad, to be that positive guy on the other side, in the week, in the training sessions, bringing the energy. And with this squad, it looks like it's the same. Everyone is buying in. Whatever your role is, you would go and do it on a game day. How
many games did you and Bucky's play together? Chess?
I can't remember. I think 78 or 87, one of those.
And at Loftus? And for the Bulls?
For the Bulls, we were probably close to 100 games together.
So everyone wants to know, how did the relationship, did you guys get on from day one?
Yeah, it was interesting. I started off playing for Griquas. Bucky's played for the Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons, yeah.
And he was a 19-year-old, and I remember playing him the first time. I was 22, bit more bigger back then, bit more aggressive as well.